Welcome to my video lesson on strategies for effective online search for class assignments. The first strategy is simply to type in your research question, or any question for that matter, into Google if your knowledge of the subject is low, or if you are intentionally excluding scholarly sources, reputable newspapers and magazines, and published books. Or the first place to start is Google Scholar, if your knowledge of the subject is relatively strong and you need scholarly sources. The fantastic thing about Google or Google Scholar is that the search engine is robust enough to handle short or large questions, questions with spelling errors, and punctuation. Even absolute gibberish gives you a results page. Library databases, on the other hand, can be finicky with punctuation and spelling errors and will return 0 results. No wonder students love Google so much. The problem with a search engine like Google is that students have to work 10 times harder to evaluate the credibility of sources, and there are like a billion of them. Or if you use library databases, then a lot of that work is done already for you. However, even scholarly sources can be unreliable, so you still need to use strong critical thinking skills when researching, regardless of the search engines used. The next strategy is one that many take for granted, the smart search suggestions. Most of you have seen the search suggestions that Google presents as you type your keywords. Some students completely ignore this. Check out the list to narrow or broaden your search. In this search, for example, about teens and cyberbullying, Google suggested the idea of gender differences, a point I hadn't considered yet, which could help narrow my search. This strategy can save you some time. This next strategy is one that many have learned from librarians, the Boolean Search, which does awfully sound like bullying kids in the playground. Boolean operators are words like and, or, and not, which are used to limit search results. These are not as effective in Google because Google uses their PageRank algorithms to rank their results. However, they work quite well in library databases. Each database differs, so this one uses drop-down menus for you to include and, or not. Just be aware of the database's limitations and tools when researching. The best way to limit Google search results is to use their Google Advanced features. Google used to make this available on their homepage, but now you have to Google it to use it. You can specify which words to include or exclude. In this box, I could include variations on the word teen. I could limit my search to a specific language, which is neat. This next feature is very useful. If I only wanted to research college websites, then I could type in .edu. If I wanted to research blogs, then I could write WordPress.com. I could also specify where my keywords should be. If you select the title or URL, then that would significantly focus your search. If you're looking for PDF articles of scholarly research, you could specify that here. This can also limit your search greatly. And one important thing to know is that if you're using a personal laptop and don't have off-campus access to your library databases, then you're not going to have access to many articles. You'll be prompted to pay for them, or they just won't be available. To get around this problem, use your library's computer, which is automatically linked to Google Scholar, or use Interlibrary Loan, which allows college students to request any journal article. It takes up to a week to receive the article, so plan accordingly. The advanced search works well when you've been researching for a couple of hours and you now have an idea what's out there and what you want to include and exclude. If you know nothing about your topic, then this resource can stifle your search process. For this next strategy, consider the word order when using search engines or databases. Even if the exact same words are used, the outcome can differ. On the left here, the results for on Facebook, Ithaca Teens Cyberbully, and on the right, Ithaca Teens Cyberbully on Facebook, you'll notice that only the top result is the same, whereas the remaining results differ, either in content or order. For this next strategy, your prior search histories can affect your search. If you're a Republican, then you're going to get Republican results in Google. If you're a Democrat, then you're going to get Democratic results. Search engines like Google enables cookies, which remember your preferences and information, including keyword searches. If you're trying to find counter views to your argument, then it becomes more difficult to find this information in your browser. To bypass this problem, use Google Chrome's incognito window by going to File, the new incognito window, which doesn't leave cookies in your browser or save your search history. However, Google does include the following warning. If you're struggling to find good information because of your political bias, then you'll want to use your library databases instead, which will not bias your search. The final search strategy I call the soothsayer. When looking for specific information, instead of writing your keywords or research question into Google or Google Scholar, write a hypothetical sentence that the author may have written. For instance, instead of writing keywords, Ithaca, teens, and cyberbullying, and Facebook, or the research question, are Ithaca teens bullied on Facebook? Write, Ithaca teens use Facebook to bully peers. Think person or place, verb, then object, as if you were writing the headline for a news flash. This strategy works well when you're trying to find very specific information on Google, Google Scholar, or a library website. Search databases house millions of writers, so statistically speaking, someone must have written a sentence close to what you're looking for. However, keep the sentence relatively short, about 7 to 10 words, and use sentence variations. This leads me to my final point about online searches. There are 5 common mistakes that get novices all riled up. First, you don't keep track of where you found your information. If possible, download a PDF of the source. If it's an HTML-only source, then create your own PDF or bookmark the site. One resource for keeping track of sources is Zotero. You download this widget, which is built into your browser. Just click on the widget, and then the source is automatically added to your Zotero library. It's really, really cool. For the second mistake, you want to be careful about copying and pasting any research information into your research paper. This is how students accidentally plagiarize. They'll copy and paste and then just tweak some of the words. This is a serious offense and can get you expelled from college. To avoid this mistake, consider using the free tool Evernote. It allows students to upload PDFs into the site, bookmark web pages, and create notes. If you do copy and paste information, include the full citation and place quotation marks around the information. Another mistake students make is that they bookmark library sources. I've seen many students heartbroken after hours of research to discover that all those bookmarks to library sources are now dead links. Libraries do this intentionally because their information is secure for students only. They don't want you to share that info with just anyone. To avoid this problem, download the PDF article, or if it's an HTML-only source, create your own PDF of that source. Here's a common rookie mistake. Students give up too soon. If it's taking you about 1 hour to find each source, then you're doing research. If it's taking you 3 hours to find a single source, then the strategies that you're using may need to be modified. Of course, it depends on the type of research you're doing, but students assume that if they haven't found a source in the first 15 minutes, then there's nothing on the topic. Which leads me to the 5th common mistake. Students say they can't find anything on their topic. Let's consider the craziness of this statement. If this were true, then that means that in a planet of 7 billion, not a single person has researched and published the topic you're interested in. That would be amazing if your topic was that unique. What's really going on is that you're not in the right search database or using the same ineffective search strategies. Remember, the search strategies you use will vary depending on the search database you're in, and they vary depending on your search goals. Check out my other videos on online search strategies by searching for my YouTube channel, mlourdes1013.